Imagine the world before 1600. A world where, at least in Europe, and then I'll tell you what was going on in Africa at the same time, there were just a bunch of empires, and countries changed not because they went through treaties and what have you. Countries changed because people captured each other. People waged wars, and empires changed boundaries, and people changed nationalities overnight. Suddenly, Carthaginians became Romans, and suddenly Romans became barbarians or what have you. And that was the world even up to 1600, when there hadn't been any real formalized understanding. And then a treaty came up, the Westphalian Treaty, that then created borders and started the principles of sovereignty and how you should respect borders and the sovereignty of their leaders, and how, if you wanted to trade with a partner, you had to have a formal engagement. Prior to that, trade was free. You could trade with anybody, just as you would trade with people, human beings would trade with each other. But then this treaty came along, and the idea in Europe was this sort of wars should cease. Unsurprisingly, there were still 2 wars to come. And indeed, those wars were waged because of the Westphalian Treaty. People wanted to preserve sovereignty. But let's just stop there for a minute. So, the protocols, and there are 8 of them. The magic number is 8. There's a protocol in trade in goods, there's a protocol in trade in services, a protocol on investment, a protocol on competition policy, a protocol on intellectual property, a protocol on settlement of disputes. We're coming to that. There's a protocol on digital trade, and there's a protocol on women and youth. Women and youth. So that's 8 of them. Trading goods is trading goods. It's a lot more difficult than it sounds, because that's where the main tariffs exist. And those are where the countries need to negotiate the tariffs. The tariffs, don't forget, the revenue created by countries in order to make money from the trade from countries they didn't like and to reduce it from countries that they did like. Knowing that goods go where they want to go. They don't go where you want them to go. Goods they will migrate to buyer and seller, willing buyer, willing seller.